Hmm. I gotta adjust. Let me see. Yo. Yeah, we in the building. Welcome to the Respectfully Great podcast. I am your host, Johnny Reed. Johnny Reed. We are here for the 2026. This is our first episode. I'm super pumped, super static. Man, I felt so compelled because like last year, 2025 was amazing. There was so many learning curves. There's so many ups, downs, left, rights, etc. And I'm super pumped to be here today. For 2026. This is our first episode and I'm happy, right? Today's Sunday. Normally we go live on Thursdays. Thursday was actually New Year's Day. I was with family, with loved ones, and I told myself, let's just ride it out to the end of the week, and then once Monday comes, start off fresh and start doing what I know I normal do. But I was thinking today, I was like, man, I got this itch that I want to, when it comes to the podcast, and I feel like I'm missing something because I haven't done it. I missed it on Thursday. So I said, you know what? I gotta show up. There's no way I'm going a full week without connecting with my loved ones and my people. Shout out to Amazing D. She's in the building. My sister's in the building. Amazing D. She did her thing this weekend as well. Did all of the cooking. Super appreciative, super thankful. We kicked it, we laughed, we vibed, we did a bunch of things with our loved ones. And it was really joyous. I had a joyous and a lovable appreciative moments during this week because I was able to share with the people that I love the most, and I think that's most important. Um, yes, there's a lot that I want to just get out because my mind is just rolling. Uh, let's get to some of the sponsors. How about we sponsor the Big BMO beanie? This is what I have on today. This right here is super fire. Shout out to my brother 100 Wave King. You can go and place your pre-orders at 100 Wave King on Instagram. Tap into his Instagram, DM him, let him know, yo, listen, I see the beanie, I need mine. He have flavorful colors. He have this one that I have on my head, which is super legendary, super artsy, super aesthetic, super craftsmanship. I think it's super dope. My niece actually put her hands to work and she put this together with him as well. So shout out to my niece as well, Jada Beta. She's in the building. Shout out to her. She did her thing. What else? Shout out to Respectfully Great. That's another sponsor, which is our brand. Go shop at respectfullygreat.com. We have so many new innovative things that's going to be approaching in the year of 2026. I think there's gonna be so much innovation behind the brand, so much momentum, so much to offer when it comes to the aesthetics of the brand, as well as we getting more, more leaning in more towards the fashion, the education, the growth, the development. There's so many things that we are going to delve into when it comes to the brand. So I want you to get really acclimated with going to respectfullygreat.com and just start tapping in with our brand. Sign up for our blogs, sign up to our email list, subscribe to our YouTube channels, all of the other platforms that we are on. Tap in with us because we are going to be pumping out a lot of content. We're going to be connecting with our loved ones. We have amazing guests that's going to be coming up, gracing our stage. What's up, Quay? That's one of my sisters in the building. She already graced our stage. Go tap in with our podcast episode. Don't remember the number offhand, but me and my sister Quay did numbers when it came to having that great conversation about the men and the women and their perspective and how we, collectively come together as a family. So go tap in with our episode. Next week, we have my brother Ronnie Ruggiero in the building. We're going to be talking about leadership. That's going to happen on Thursday at 7 p.m. So don't miss. My brother Ronnie Ruggiero will be in the building next Thursday at 7 p.m. for the Respectfully Great podcast. So I'm super pumped, super ecstatic. That is our first guest of the year 2026. And man, we're going to be steamrolling. We're going to just pump out, do what we do, man. And mainly it's connecting with oneself, connecting together as a collective. And we're going to be, figuring out ways how we can just level up our lives and level up our spirit, level up our physicality, level up our mental in all facets and all shapes and forms. So I'm grateful to be able to come with this perspective and having so much, energy behind it because I believe in what we do. I believe in each and every individual that comes and shows up here because it matters to yourself that you show up for a cause because you are doing it, but then more importantly, that you show up for other people. And to be able to show up for other people, we was having a conversation. Who was I talking to the other day? Oh, one of my loved ones. And we were just talking and we was like, it's hard to show up for anybody if you're not able to show up for oneself. And I think that's one of the things that allows us to thrive in a world where there's many distractions. So when you're able to show up for oneself, you're able to show up for other people. That's a strength that most people, it's very difficult to do. So I'm going to commend you for doing that. So everybody that come to this platform at one time or another, I want to let you know that you appreciate it, and I want to let you know that you have immense amount of strength because you are showing up for another. You are showing up for a cause. You're showing up to a community. Showing up for other people. And the only way you're able to show up for other people is if you're able to show up for self first. And I think that is a key component into learning and growing and being in that place of growth and development. I want to shout out everybody that's on these platforms: Instagram, YouTube, StreamYard, Facebook, TikTok. Shout out to all of my loved ones. I hope that your 2025 year was a blessed one. I hope it was a learning one. I hope it was one that you can take with you into this 2026 and say, you know what? Whatever transpired in 2025, there are going to be some things that I want to attach myself to, and there are going to be some things that I want to let go of. Right? Charmaine Long, 838, what's up, loved one? 2026 is going to be a year. It's going to be your year. It's going to be your year that you do things that you want to do. Do it the way you want to do them. Show up the way you want to show up. And I think that we have so much ability. We have so much potential, and a lot of our potential gets zapped because of the things we talk about when it comes to distractions, other people, our own mindsets. And I think we starting off on the right foot, meaning that 2026, we able to show up in a way that we probably never showed up before. And I think that's right there alone should give enough energy behind what you do, your premise. You'll be able to shape and mold your purpose. You'll be able to extract and actually be able to plant those seeds and reap the harvest that comes from it. You'll be able to bear the fruit that comes from it. And I think that we starting off on the right foot by having this conversation, having this dialogue, and just remembering what transpired. I think being able to tell ourselves these stories and be able to remember pivotal moments in our lives, it gives credence to the things that we say that we want, and the things that we experience, and the things that we're going through. I think that it helped shape and mold our purpose in ways that we maybe won't be able to imagine. Be like, well, how was this happening turned out for the better and greater good of me? And oftentimes when we go through hardships, the first thing that comes to our mind is like, how can this possibly benefit me? Or how can this serve a purpose that's higher than me? How can this, this troubling time serve me in a way other than being troubling? And I want to let you know that there's this word serendipity that I hold near and dear to my heart. It comes with a happenstance, a happening, an accident that we like, well, I had this accident, but lo and behold, that accident turned out something beneficial to you in the long run, not in the moment, right? But in the long haul. And I think that when we plant these seeds, we think that it's an overnight process, and we don't really give the time to water, to give the proper sunlight, give the proper put the seed in the proper soil. Our mindsets, right? What are we soaking our mindsets into, far as when it comes to the things we watch, how we feed in our minds, how do we eat physically? What do we eat? Are we eating the right things? Are we having the right conversations? Are we doing things that's stretching ourselves beyond our own limits to see where's our potential at? How can we ever build up that tolerance of oneself if we haven't gone down a path and put ourselves to the test? So when you're going up and you testing your mindset, you testing your theories, you testing your beliefs, you don't know that every time that you go and you challenge that, you build up strength. There's a lady by the name of Laura Boyd, and she said the way the brain actually grows is by actually challenging it and doing difficult tasks. When I heard that for the first time, I'm like, what does that mean? It builds up the neurons in the brain. It connects those neurons. It starts to strengthen the memory, start strengthening the ability, start to strengthen your capability. And when I heard this, I'm like, well, does that mean I have to start doing more difficult tasks? A lot of times we get complacent. We do things in a redundant way. We say, you know what, if it's not broke, We don't need to fix it. And all that may be all well and good at a particular time, but ultimately, how do we ever grow from just doing the thing over and over and over again? Yes, we can, build up a level of tolerance, but at what point do we stretch ourselves to say, you know what, if I did 10 minutes or 20 minutes of reading today, how if I pick it up for 30, 40 minutes? How about if I did my meditative things only for 5 minutes? Can I stretch it for 10, 20, 30? Are we going beyond those limits? And this is where we start to strengthen in areas that we, like, unbeknownst to us, that we had the ability to strengthen. We thinking that just because things are, they will remain. And I don't want us to get complacent in having and carrying out that mindset that we can't stretch ourselves beyond those limits, because when we start to put ourselves to the test, when we start to think outside of the box, when we start testing our own theories, when we start challenging ourselves, we'll be amazed at our capabilities. And oftentimes we don't get a chance to showcase nor curate our premise and our purpose, because we're not doing anything outside of what would be considered the norm, or the comfortable stages of just, going through the motions, going along to get along, just doing the thing because I'm able to do so. That's why they say hard work always beat talent. When the talent don't work hard, hard work beats talent when the talent doesn't work hard. And when I want to let you know that today, that everybody here has a talent, everybody has a gift, everybody here has a skill set. But the thing is, are we putting that thing to use? Because although we may say and critique people that's on television, media, friends, family, whoever, working environments, business partners, other people, we may have our opinions on them, right? We may say that this person is not deserving of that. I'm way more talented than him, she, them, they, whoever. But the one missing component is that they are in their purpose because they are stretching themselves beyond their own beliefs. They are challenging themselves, although they may not have the initial talent as someone else with innate gift. They may not have the talent of someone else with an innate gift, but what they are willing to do is put that work in and stretch themselves beyond their beliefs. And then what happens when you start doing that? Not only do you convince yourself that you are purposeful, you'll start to convince the world that I have a purpose, and people start coming to you for that purpose, and you'll be in your purpose. So that is the gifts that we have if we are willing to work, if we are willing to curate our purpose. So I want to let us know today that 2026 is going to be a volume year. We're going to do more volume. We're going to be consistent, persistent. We're going to be thought provoking. We're going to be purpose driven individuals because we have the ability to do so. How about if we say, well, why does this have any meaning? How about take the things that you already do? Imagine experiencing that 3 times over. Imagine you going to work, and for the same work that you do, your employer, employee, whoever say, I'm gonna pay you 3 times the amount of money. How would you feel about going to work? If somebody told you that you will reap the benefits, you done this one thing. You went to the store, you went and you just copped some new, some new merch, whatever it is that you're into. You got some new cards, whatever your hobbies are. Say you have a hobby of whatever particular thing. You say, you know what, I went to the store, I got some CDs. But imagine experiencing that 3 times over and getting 3 times the value, or three x the value of purchasing the one thing. You're getting 3 times the value. Well, let me share that in another context. What about if you put your mind to the test and you reap the benefits 3 times over by you just doing the hard task or doing the more difficult task, or about just challenging yourself or stretching yourself beyond your own beliefs? How about just doing that one thing but reaping the benefits 3 times over? That's the ability that we have for going into 2026, because we don't know that every time we do a thing and the more that we stretch ourselves, that's how the brain actually works and grows. So imagine the capacity of how much your mind can grow and how much ability that you will have and acquire by being able to stretch yourself beyond your own beliefs. What will happen in the world of somebody like yourself that's able to go out there and be purposeful and maximize their potential 3x over? How beautiful would you want to how beautiful would that be, that you experience in life 3 times over what you're already experiencing it? Imagine you able to love and you receiving love 3 times over what you're already receiving. Imagine you out there, you a giver. Imagine you get fulfillment from giving and offering and doing acts of servitude. Imagine feeling that 3 times over. Instead of coming into contact with one person, you're able to affect 3 people. How would you feel? If you say that, if I'm out there and I'm working towards, oneself and I'm doing things, I'm working out in the gym and the results at one point in time felt like they wasn't coming. Imagine every time you do the thing, the results are coming 3 times over. So now you looking the way you want to look 3 times over. The ideal body, the ideal mind, the ideal acts of servitude, just the ideal life that you want to live in. How about if we said all of those things are only a perspective? How you think, how you program, how do you routine, how do you feed yourself, where your nutrition is coming from, how do you nourish, what are the things you speaking? Are you speaking these things into existence? Are you connecting on levels beyond your own belief? Is your faith, are you rooted in the faith? Are you a believer or a knower? How do you know? How do you associate who you are, where you are, and what you connected to? How about you build up that level of faith 3 times over? So now when you say things that you believe in, the conviction is there. The conviction is there 3 times over. You convince yourself 3 times that there's no way nobody be able to deter me from the mission that I'm on, because I'm convinced. I'm convinced 3 times over. If I had doubt, if I had fear, if I had FOMO, fear of missing out, if I had all of these things that would bombarded me and held me down, and there was a wall blocking me from these other things that I want to attract myself towards and do and curate, imagine I have that perspective that's convincing enough to say, no matter what comes in my way, I already know my premise and purpose. There's no way I'll be able to be stopped, because 2026 is already talking to me. I already walked through the door a winner. My 2026 is already a winning year, no matter what transpires, no matter what losses, what gains, what steps, what learning curves, no matter what I'm going to go through. The 2026 year is already won, because my perspective had turned on an on switch to a winner. I turned my on switch into a winner. So how do winners think? How do winners prepare? How do winners see life? How do winners associate the language or the power of the tongue? What do they speak about? Do they speak from a pessimistic perspective? Are they looking at the cup half empty? Or are they looking at the cup as an optimistic person, as half full? So we'll be going out there with a premise and a purpose. What's up, PP in the building? What's up, loved one? My cousin P says, having faith is the biggest thing in life. It's a sign you believe in yourself. Oh, hand clap for that, loved one. Hand clap for that, loved one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ooh, yeah, I feel that energy. I feel that energy. I think it's a necessity that I reiterate what my brother just said. Let me just put this back into the ethos one more time, because that's conviction. You feel me? We going 3 times over. My cousin said, having faith is the biggest thing in life. It's a sign you believe in yourself. Oh my gosh. Believing in self. Believing in self. Believing in self. I remember one time I was watching some segment from the Smart Guy on YouTube, and he said that every negative thought in his mind, he says 100 positive thoughts, negating that one negative thought. I'm like, what you mean 100 times? He actually did it in real time, meaning if he thought negative at that very moment, he said 100 positive things to challenge that one negative thought. So he went 100 times over. He didn't go 3 times. He went 100 times over to get more conviction. Now, we were talking about faith, like my cousin P said. Having that faith is the biggest thing in your life. It's a sign you believe in yourself. When you start believing in yourself, 3 times, 10 times, or like the smart guy does 100 times over. Would you think your perspective is going to be an outlook on life when it comes to self? How do you think you're going to perceive self? Are you going to be defeated? Like one thing from Myron Golden, when he says that he never assigns a level of difficulty to things. I think that is one of the most profound things that I've heard. He never assigns a level of difficulty to things. And what that made me realize is that in life, right, most of us fail at the very, very beginning, because we already defeated ourselves with the task before we even started it. We said that this is going to be hard because I never experienced this before. I never did this thing before. I don't know the intricacies. I don't know how I'm going to approach this. I don't know if this thing is going to work to my better and greater good. I don't know where my finances are. I don't know if how can I possibly afford this situation. I don't know where I'm gonna get the guidance from. I don't know if I have the faith in oneself. I don't know if I have the discipline in oneself. I don't know if I have the obedience to go out there and say, you know what, I'm gonna do things not from a sacrificial perspective. I'm not gonna sacrifice anything. I'm gonna just show up and do my job from an act of obedience, meaning that I'm gonna show up and do my job, acts of service, showing up for oneself, just saying that, you know what, no matter what going on in the world, I'm gonna make sure that I'm on my premise and purpose and I'm on code at all times. Even if I see people out there that are breaking the code, breaking the rules, that got nothing to do with me. That's their own business. Unless they are in my inner circle and they're connected by the same principles, morals, and belief systems that I carry, and we got to pack an oath and a bond to say, you know what, in our circle, this is what we're going to be. This is what we're going to do. We're going to regulate one another. We falling out of pocket. It's for us obligation and our moral, our moral compass to say, we go come connected with each other and say, if I'm doing the wrong thing, pull me by the collar, let me know I'm doing the wrong thing. Assist me, aid me in the right manner, and let me know that you listen. There's some things that I may be driving down the wrong path, or I'm making that fork in the road, and I'm splitting. I'm going the wrong way. If there are other people that went down that path and say, you know what, that path right there that you took ends the disorder and chaos. We don't want to go down that road. Let's go to this other path right here because this one will look more promising. Nothing's guaranteed, but this is more promising because you're gonna be on a path of more righteousness than negating the fact and being more on a negative road. You taking a negative route. We don't want to take the negative route. We want to be people that's prosperous. So we got to go down that road that leads to more prosperity. But we got to start building that up from within. So the outwardly things is only a reflection of how we see the world and oneself. So what's more important, the world or how you build from within? So you got to build from within and then let the outwardly things show because of how you want to show up in the world that you want to live in. It's not about the world that everybody else want to live in. A lot of times we find ourselves being in everybody else's world because we're not following what's going on in the code and conducts of oneself. So that's when everything starts to get a little bit more confusing. Not for 2026. 2026, we going out there, we following that path, that road of the prosperity of the way that we want to live our lives. We want to get involved in the things that we want to get involved in. We want to connect with the people that we want to connect with. We want to put that money in the pocket that we want to go out there and acquire. We're not assigning no levels of difficulty to the things that I want to acquire and bring it to my world and my life. So we're not dealing with limiting beliefs. We're not dealing with, pessimistic mindsets. We are talking about growth and development. We're going to grow no matter what. There are going to be people that show up and like the long road. We had a segment not too long ago at a podcast episode somewhere in the 40s, 2 or 3 podcast episodes ago. We was talking about that long road. Along that journey, people are going to fall off on that road. Some people may walk a little bit further with you. David Banner said this before the movie came out. David Banner has said that same segment. And the conviction part where I started to be a stronger believer in this concept is when I actually came across it again, and the same mechanisms, the same things, the same principles that I was recognizing then when David Banner had said it, it showed up in this movie. And I'm like, you know what? This never has stopped because since that moment, whether I realize it or not, I'm on a path. I'm on a journey. You are on a path. You are on a journey. And no matter what detour, no matter how fast you go, no matter your pace, no matter what deters you or distracts you, you are on that path. You can stand still, you can walk forward, you can move backwards, you can get off the path, you can find your way back on the path. You can say, I'm going another route, I'm rerouting. There's many things you're going to do in on the life journey, right? And in your path, in your premise, and your purpose, and where you're trying to go, your destination. Nobody can get you there but you. So when we're relying on everybody else to get us there, it makes the journey and the path that much more difficult. Not saying that we can't use the aid of people that have been down these roads and can give us tips, hints, and be able to say, you know what, here, instead of going left, go right. We still got to follow hard. But if there are people that have the experience of doing a particular thing and they know both sides on how this thing go, I think ideally we can use more, higher what is it? The word I want to say, predictability, right? We have higher predictability and saying, you know what, this is a higher chance that this may be more of a favorable thing in the long run than now. When I was little, if I kept throwing rocks at cars, it's only going to lead to more disorder and chaos. But if I say, you know what, if I stood outside and assisted cars for whatever reason and just being a helping hand if there was a accident or whatnot, I did more of a favorable thing, and I was being more in purpose and leading down that path of more promising things from being on the right side of that fence versus the left versus the wrong side or the left side of the fence. So what I'm saying is that in life we can learn from one another, but primarily we the one that making that final decision, and understanding that when you're on your path, there gonna be some things that you experience that the other people haven't experienced before. There gonna be some things that other people may be able to relate to and experience. But now we got to be able to have higher levels of discernment, being able to have higher quality decision making, being real prudent, being wise, understand that, you know what, okay, I have to use heightened sensibility when it comes to certain things. I got to be able to have high levels of discernment. I got to be able to figure out, you know what, I got to rely on my own decision making. Although I can get influence, that's what agency is: being able to make a decision on your own without the influence of other people. So what I'm saying is that when you get to a point in your life where you're able to trust you, when you're able to say, you know what, regardless of the outcome, I have high levels of faith and belief. And my cousin P said, having the highest levels of faith. I trust in me. I trust in what I do. I trust in my abilities. I trust in my skill sets. I trust in my decision making. When you start being convicted to that point where you fully fledged in your own conviction, doors will start to open up that you never thought would be open. Opportunities will come that may have been there, but you wasn't able to recognize them because you haven't became the person as of yet. So along this journey that we are walking, you are becoming the person that's going to be able to acquire the thing. It may not be initially when you're going down this path. My cousin P says the God is talking very positive vibes. That's really pertains to life issues. Stay great. Absolutely, loved one. I love you unconditionally. You know, when we talk from a pure place and just being open and honest, I found out that that works the best, and I got the best results in my life from being open and honest. There was a point in my time where I wasn't so open and honest. I felt every reason I had to mislead people by not telling my own truths because I didn't want people to really attach themselves to how I really thought. So this is when I had the cookie cutter mindset. I had the microwavable mindset where I had to go along to get along type of perspectives, right? So Shelly, what's up, loved one? My niece is in the building. What's up, Shelly? I had that cookie cutter mindset, and what attracted to me, what that attracted to me in my life was somebody that was just being a follower. And it's so great that next week we're going to be talking about leadership. I can't wait to have this conversation with my brother Ronnie Ruggiero. But it makes me think about those times in those paths in my life where I was just so attached to everybody else's path and journey because I wasn't convicted. I wasn't convinced enough in my own mind that I could go out there and be accomplished. So what I did was I attracted to what everybody else was doing, and I was misled on my own path because I wasn't able to think for oneself. So when I started to be able to build up those level of prudence and be able to have agency and being able to start to make decisions on my own, whether it was in favor of me or not, what I learned about life is that life is just a continuum of causes and effects. So we're not really worried about just the results. We worried about, hey, when you get in difficult tasks, are you able to think your way out of these situations? And a lot of times we aren't. I know there's a point in my time where I wasn't able to think my way out of situations because I wasn't really living my truth. So even when I felt strongly convicted in my heart and convinced in my heart, and I had conviction in my heart about a particular thing, I would do the go along to get along type of thing. And I know that the decisions that someone else is making for me, I really didn't feel like that. And I kept misleading myself, misleading others. And it's just been a redundant thing to where I was just in my own way. And sometimes it takes yourself to be kind of vulnerable in those situations because you be thinking about what other people think about us. We live in a world to where we constantly thinking about what the world think about us. But the most powerful thing that you can have in your life is the perspectives you have on yourself. Because when nobody's able to build, like, tear you down, nobody can talk to you any type of way. We have the levels of respect. We have the levels of trust, you have the levels of honesty, you have truth, and you start living that out, no matter what nobody else says that negates that, you will always overshadow that. That would be small-minded thinking to somebody that has the strength and a strong-minded person, which would be yourself. No matter what small-minded individuals come around and try to plant seeds in your mind, you're like, nah, this is out of this garden. We taking those seeds and we throwing those in another garden. Those seeds can't belong in this garden. We not planting those negative seeds in our garden. So when people come to you with some bull crap, people, places, things, environments, the things that we see that we like, you know what, that right there look kind of toxic. That right there really ain't for me. That conversation right there ain't for me. This environment is not really conducive to my well-being nor my mindset. When we start recognizing our own strengths, we won't attach ourselves to the weak things. And this is where we start to grow up in our own minds and say, you know what, I'm convicted. Here's my faith. Here's my truth. I am open and honest about me. And then nobody else can say anything about you. That's why we see in the movie, Norm, what's up, Norm? Admirable Spence, what's up, loved one? We see the movie 8 Mile with Eminem, right? And Eminem, they say, you know what? I'm gonna go on stage, and Mekhi Phife, he said, I think even Mekhi, whoever it was that was rapping against Eminem, his whole premise was say, you know what? I'm gonna tear this guy down because I'm gonna make him face his things that I think that he don't want the world to see. So the guy in his mind that's opposing what Eminem stood for, he said, I'm going to point out every flaw about Eminem. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tear this person down so the world can get a view of what that person may look like. I'm going to tear him down. You know what Eminem did? Eminem said, you know what? Before you get to tell the world about me, I'm going to tell the world about me. And I'm gonna live in my truth because I can't run from me. So he faced his fears. He looked himself in the mirror. He did a self-audit and he told the world who he was. So after he told the world everything that he needed to tell the world, everybody in the room, they looked around like, well, what could you possibly say now? So the dude was up there and he couldn't even get the words out because his intentions was to go in there and tear him down. But how Eminem rose above that is that he lived his truth and he put his truth on the line. He lived his truth. He lived his conviction. He was convinced that, you know what, no matter what nobody else gonna say about me, I know me. And I'm willing to stand on who I am. It took me a long time to do that in my life because I wanted this perception to lead. I really didn't want my heart to leave, even though people know I was a good person at core. But I wanted to put up this perception. I wanted to seem like I had no chinks in my armor when it came to relationships, when it came to family, when it came to friends, when it came to finances. All those things smacked me around in reality because I wasn't the person before I went into the system. The money wasn't there. The relationships wasn't there. The trust wasn't there. The girlfriend wasn't there. The family members wasn't there. I felt like the world was looking at me from this perspective, like, "Ew." So now he wasn't I felt at the time I wasn't big enough to stand in any of these spaces because I wasn't convicted yet. I wasn't convinced. I wasn't in my conviction yet. So I started to feel like it was little Johnny against the big world. I felt like little Johnny against the big world because at one time I was able to hide behind the money, the woman, the friends, the family members, the environment, the things I brought, materialistic things. I was able to cover up all of my insecurities. I was able to cover up all my insecurities behind the things I put in front of me. And then when all of those things got taken away from me, now I had nothing but me. I had nothing but me at that point. So the only place I could run, turn, talk to was me. I had to face the man in the mirror. And then once I started to get comfortable, it was very, very uncomfortable to look oneself in the mirror because I'm the only person, like Myron Golden said, I'm the only person that heard every lie that I told. I'm the only person that heard every lie that I had told. So facing myself to say, hey, remember that time you said this about that? Yeah, nobody else may know, but you know. It's time to live your truth now. Stop lying about that. Oh, remember that time you did this thing over here? Yeah, nobody's seen you, but you seen you. So the way that you was conniving, stealing, driving, whatever it was, the only way you'd be able to get over that if you be open and honest and say, you know what, I did do that. And I didn't put that burden on somebody else. I didn't point the finger at somebody else. I started to take ownership. I started to take ownership. When you have ownership, it comes with a level of responsibility. So now I had to teach myself to be more responsible. I had to do things from a perspective of acting out of obedience. I had to face my fears. I had to be vulnerable. I had to be open. I had to be honest. I had to be truthful. Man, when I started to get on that path, it was rough because every moment I had an opportunity to be misleading. I had every opportunity to put out a false narrative. I had every opportunity to point the finger at everybody else but oneself. But every step that I take, I said, you know what? If you really want the fruitfulness from, you being who you are, if you really want to be in your purpose, if you really want to be someone of credence, of someone that has that credit, someone that has that relatability, that have that open and honesty, if you really want to be someone of truth, if you want to be someone of respect, if you want to be someone of transparency, if you want to be somebody that's open, honest, and really ready for transformational things to happen in your life, it has to start with you being open and honest. You got to look that person in the mirror and start telling the truth. So once I started to do that, things didn't happen overnight. I'm like, when is this thing going to work? When is this thing going to work? What I did do though, I changed the perspective. I planted the seed. I planted the seed in the right garden. And I stayed in those same gardens where it was nothing but more of the positivity, more room for growth, more room for error, but more room to dust myself off and get right back up. So I was able to make those mistakes, causes and effects. I was able to go through the things and, you know what, not be so hard on myself, not be so hard, and not letting other people dictate how I want to live my life, how I want to experience life, the things I'm going to come in contact with. If I said that I like a particular sounding music, I had the right to do so. I didn't have to run from that. So all of those areas where I had a bunch of insecurities, I had to face them. And once I started to do it, it was uncomfortable at first. I started to do this. When I did something that was against the norm of what I normally had done, even though it was the righteous thing in heart, I was doing this, looking around like, anybody see me? Anybody see me? Whew. And then once I see somebody over on the corner staring at me like, I'm like, oh. And then after that, I had to sit with it for a second. I'm like, man, that ain't that bad. That ain't that bad. And I had to go through the same motions again with some of my own insecurities again. I started being put to the test. More of my insecurities was being tested. And more the environment started to pull these things out of me so I can be challenged and start living in my conviction. And then different people, not them per se, but there will be happenings, there will be things, there will be conversations, there will be things that would hit home that I know, it tore me up in the core because now I had to live my truth in that moment. So when I had to speak about things and give my opinion, I had to be open and honest. So the more and more I started to do these things, I started to get more familiar with being uncomfortable. And this is the route that we start to learn and grow and start to challenge ourselves. And this is where our brains start to actually grow. Like Laura Boy said, when we start to be uncomfortable and we start challenging ourselves. These are the things I started to tell myself along my journey. And this is a continuum. This is something that I keep in back of my mind. Everything I come up against, every obstacle, every challenge, every thought, even when I think some of the bad thoughts, I think the thought, and then I gotta let that thought go and say, okay, what would you do if you are a person that you say you are? If you say you're a man of respect, man of honor, man of trust, man of truth. Now that you have that thought, is that thought process in alignment of who you want to be and how you want to live and experience life? I put that on the table now. So when I look at it, I'm like, that negative thought to this positive person that I'm trying to be in my life and purposeful person that I'm trying to be in my life and the character that I'm building up, is that in alignment of who I want to be? I started to ask myself those questions. And then whether it was yeah, nay, I said, okay, I know what to do and make that decision moving forward. So that's what I still do at this very moment. Although I find myself in compromising positions because it's easy to revert back to the negative, right? Because that's what we know. We know that we can, do what we want at our own discretion because we know how to slip through the cracks. We know how to scheme and connive. We've been doing that our whole lives because that's the easy thing to do. We always been under the radar. because that was the easy thing to do. It was easy to point fingers at other people because that's the easy thing to do. So we can hide behind all of our insecurities by pointing fingers, being in environments, telling this person did this, that, gossiping, etc. But when you start to live out your truth and start to be challenged in those areas, you start to realize, like, you know what? Although this is uncomfortable, I could get more used to living out my truth because it ain't that bad. It's actually easier. You know how hard it is to keep up with a lie? Do you know how hard it is to keep up with a lie? Not just for the moment. What about for a day? What about for a few weeks? What about a few months? What about a couple of years? Do you know how hard it is to hold in that lie? Other than just saying, you know what, I'm gonna tell you the truth of this. This is what transpired. This is who I am. This is how I showed up. Whether these things are in favor of you or not, you don't have to lie about nothing. So now you just can recant that, not take back, but you can recite whatever transpired and say, you know, I'm just living in my truth. Hey, that time I was out and, you know, playing baseball, and you know what? I really didn't step on the bag. You know what I mean? I tell everybody I was safe at the plate. I was safe at the plate. No, I ain't touch the bag. I really was out. Yeah, we won the game still. We still won the game, but I'm be honest with you. Yeah, I did a little trickery. I did a little trickery. Yeah, we won the game, but truth be told, your boy was really out. So had that came to light, we wouldn't have won that game. And I said, you know what? I can't change all the wrongs in my past. I just can be open and honest of where I stand at now and say, you know what? Whether was that true? Was I open? Was I honest? I could be that now because maybe at that point I wasn't ready to stand in that vulnerability. I wasn't ready to stand in my truth. I didn't prepare myself and curate that person. I didn't become the person as of yet who I am today. But that's okay because even right now in this moment, the best is yet to come. Whoever you are now at the moment, you may be a wonderful person, but I'm telling you, the more and more you be in purpose, that person that you are now is not going to be able to stand 10 toes against the person that you need to be, that you're going to be in the near future. And that's the power and the strength that we have for 2026. That's what the power we're going to have for 2027, 28, and the years beyond that. The more and more we get in purpose and living out our truth. And this is why I'm so excited about what the future brings, right? We know there are going to be some things that may be hardships, but it's all about our perspective on how we approach these things. We know this comes with the territory, right? But understand that everything is just a cause and effect. If I do this, then this will happen. If this will happen, if I do this, then this will happen. Cause and effects continuously. Only thing you got to do is show up and ready to do the job out of obedience, saying that, you know what, whoever I want to be, let me curate that. Let me work a little bit harder on me. Let me get more on purpose. Let me understand who I am. Let me ask myself why I'm making the decisions that I'm making in my life, whether they're in favor of you or not. Evaluate the process of how you come to decision making. What is the measuring stick? How do I base myself around finding out the solution to problems? What do I do? How do I problem solve? What is the process like for me to problem solve? How do I do these things? What is my response time? Do I sit with things? Do I make immediate decisions? Am I impulsive? All of these things come into who we are as people and our character. But the thing is that once we start knowing who we are, we can start using these things for our better and greater good. So even though you may be a little bit edgy, that may work in different fields of expertise. When you wear edginess, could when you be hyper when you hyper, what is it called? When people have ADHD, when you hyper, can't think of the name of the word, but long story short, when you just hyper, right? And you just always on alert. Those things work very, very well in fast-paced environments where you got to think fast and you got to be, really on point. So you being in the jungle and that bush start to move, potentially it could be a threat. It could be a threat. It could be your meal, right? Or it could be nothing. It could be the bushes, brushing back and forth. But if you just aware and your awareness is up, then it makes you more suitable for the environments that you come into, because now you alert, you know what's going on. And that's how we have to be with oneself. We got to know what's going on with us first, right? Because if we don't know who we are and where we are, we can easily be told you with. We can easily be misled. We can go down paths that we can go down paths that's not conducive for us. And things may not work out in a way that we intended to work because we're not really in our purpose, and we don't understand who we are. So my main thing is finding out who you are, get more familiar with you, because things around you start to become more clear. The reason why we get in these environments and we feel lost is because there's a disconnect with who we are. Because we are still out there trying to find our way, but we attaching ourselves to things that don't work for us. Everything ain't for everybody. All advice ain't good advice. Sometimes there's some of the things that we got to throw out, no matter, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. But it, 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 it's all relative, right? Everything is relative. How does it apply? And how does it relate to you and your world and the world that you're living in? How you see things. That's all. It's all about being able to decipher what is what, and that's the gift that you have once you start to be more in tune with who you are. So that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited that 2025 had its up and had its downs, but now I'm here in 2026 with an optimistic perspective, with a uplifting spirit, with a more of a conviction of who I am, what I stand for, and I know that I'm going to be in purpose because I'm creating it, creating my purpose. I used to wait for a purpose to come to me, like give me the signs of what I should be doing, instead of going out there and exercising my skill sets and exercising my right to do particular things and strengthening my mindset and building those things up and becoming the person during the process. Now that I started to take that approach, things start to seem a little bit different. I start to feel more in purpose because I'm creating it. That's the opportunity that you have every day, no matter what field of expertise you choose to get yourself involved in, no matter what line of work you choose to do, no matter who you choose to show up for in your life. It all can be relative to how you want to experience life and the things that you want to bring into your world, because you the one that got that decision. If we are in purpose and if we can be connected to oneself. But if we disconnect it from oneself, we will be pulled in every direction from what everybody else out there can offer. We be caught up in the media, we caught up in other conversations, we be caught up in the environment, we be caught up in this politic, that politic, and understanding that we missing out on the body politic, what's going on with oneself. How do you govern self? What are your morals? What are your principles? What are your code of conduct? What are your ethics? How do you exercise these things in the world that we living in today? What world are you living in? Regardless of what's going on outside of these doors, what world are you living in with oneself? How do you operate from that perspective? These are some of the things that I found myself being in. And I'm like, I never seen it like this. The reason why I haven't seen it like that, because I wasn't living my truth and wasn't living my life. I was waiting for direction from everybody else. And as I was getting direction from everybody else, I was also being misled. Not everybody had the wrong intentions. All I'm saying is that I had to go out there and figure things out. Brandon, what's up, loved one? I had to go out there and figure those things out. And I started to figure those things out once I started to get more in tune with who I am, knowing what I like, knowing what I dislike, knowing what I'm attracted to, knowing things that I want to repel, knowing, okay, what environment do I want to be in, who I want to talk to, who I want to associate myself with, what are my interests, what are the things I'm into. Even now, right now, I find myself into watches. I'm into timepieces. Time. I had a wonderful conversation the other day with my brother Ronnie, but there were some things I was just talking about time, and now I have a lot of different perspectives. I was on one side about a particular thing, and now I'm in the middle. And I think that's the beauty of having that same data. I took this one circumstance, I took this other circumstance, I went through this situation, I looked at his and her situation, then I went through this thing. Now I have all of this data to figure out where I stand at. How do I feel at core? Now there's certain things that interest me. I got different hobbies. I got different interests. I have different likes. I got different business goals. I have different things I want to bring and offer into the world in the midst of me doing and being in purpose. And I think that's what I'm so appreciative of, happy. I know it's going to be a challenge because I set the bar up here for myself, because I think that's where we grow at. Like Laura Boy said, um, if I shoot for the moon and I fall, in the sky somewhere, I still be up there. I still be up there for oneself. And even if I don't set the bar that high, we know that just being 1% better, you still be able to gain and acquire the things that you want in your life from a level of being disciplined by being 1% better every day. So sometimes the goals, we may think that the goals are far beyond, but I like to set high goals because if I miss them, it's okay. But I know that I'm stretching myself. So some things may be like, that's out there, but you know what? It's a challenge to go on that hunt to see if I'll be able to acquire the thing, but I don't know my potential yet. So if I don't strive for the best, if I don't go out there and put the concerted effort, I would never know where I really stand at. But the beauty of me is just keep shooting up there, keep shooting up there, keep going for those goals that seem, and damn near impossible. The beauty of it is that I'm going to become a particular person during that journey. One thing that Alex Hormozy says that he gets the biggest bone. He think of it like a dog. He thinks I get the biggest bone that I can gnaw on. And the thing, although I know I would never get down to the gristle to where the bone would disintegrate because this bone is so big, I would never get down to the gristle. But the beauty of it is that I know that um, since it's so much that I'm going to challenge myself with along my journey, I'm going to strengthen who I become because I didn't set the bar so low to where it's super achievable. I didn't set a goal that might be impossible, but along my journey, I'm going to surprise myself on who I can become along that journey. And I think that is one of the most beautiful things that you can offer oneself. You can offer yourself some of those goals for oneself. No matter what it is, in somebody else's eyes, it may be a small goal. Only you know where you stand at. So the thing is, if you somebody that's very, very uncomfortable being around people, just get in an environment where there's just more people around. And of course it may build up some anxiety. Of course, it may build up some doubt. It may build up some level of fear because you confused, it's uncomfortable, and all these things. But over time, the more and more you start surrounding yourself just around in these environments, the environment slowly but surely start to become a little bit normal. And you're like, you know what, this isn't that bad. And not only you'll survive it, but you'll also be able to thrive because now the things that you had fear in front of, no longer those things are fearful because it's really not that bad. Because if it was, other people won't indulge in it. So if you see groups of other individuals, regardless of their character and how they are, it still may not be that bad because it seems like they're still able to cohabitate. They still can be around one another, whether they engage in conversation or not. It's not that bad. Nobody's getting harmed during the process. So you'll learn some things about yourself. Like, you know what? Although I went in that environment, it was very, very, uh, I was confused for a minute. But although I had some fear built up, really ain't that bad. And this is where I want us to get, you know, just be more out there when it comes to who we are and with the things that we want to bring into our life, things that we want to challenge ourselves with, who we want to become during this process. Is going to take ourselves shooting for the moon, shooting for the moon. And if you miss the moon, that's okay. Because the goal really isn't hit the moon. It's that, I'm just shooting this goal out there. So far, I'm going to the moon. I'm getting in this rocket. I'm taking off because I know that in due time, there are going to be some things that I'm going to be inexperienced at. But that's the beauty of not having everything written down and having a blueprint, because now you'll be able to create your own blueprint. And then people be able to take your path, your journey as you being a trailblazer. People be able to connect on levels with you. Like, wow, I've seen everybody do it this way, but you did it this way. I didn't know that this way was possible. So now you give insight to other people. You give hope to other people. You give their testimony to other people. And what people are able to do with your testimony is dissect it. They may take some things that apply. They may let other things fly that doesn't apply to them, which is beautiful because now they have the data. They have the data. I think Warren Buffett said that that's why he read so much and that's why he reads so much. Is that I think he read like, I think like 500 pages a day or something like that, right? But the reason why he said he does that, even though the information, all information ain't good information, but you can pick and choose out of the literature, well, what applies to me? Because we know that these things are relative, depending on who you are, where you are, and how you want to show up. There's certain things in finances, there's a certain language that they understand. There's certain language that people that take the bar exam, there's certain language of being lawyers, etc. There's certain jargon, certain words, certain things that they have to understand in order to fit in that environment to communicate. And that's what it is when it comes to some of the things that we do. How about we start learning the language of who we are? On the Wave King, what's up, loved one? Exquisite illusion, um, illusionary, what's up, loved one? That's how we start to, doing those magnificent things is when we start getting in these places and start figuring out, okay, I see what's going on here. Now I'm put to the test. I'm put to the challenge now. What do I do? You start to, you start to create that blueprint. Now you have the data from taking all the other testimonies as well as yours. And now you can say, I could pick out of this thing and I can put this thing to use. Now I can figure out, okay, if I want to go into this space, what languages people, how do people that are successful and convinced of who they are, how do they speak? How do they associate? How do they connect? Because it's a method to how people do things. You may find a way that's conducive to some people that may be super shy. Maybe people are not that outgoing. Some people may be a little bit more sheltered. You may be that same individual, but you found a way that works for you. And other people may say, you know what? How did you do that? You say, I'm really introverted. I learned another term, not introverted, not extroverted. There's a middle fine line called ambiverted. So I found out for myself, there's some areas where I'm super outgoing, and there's some areas in my life where I'm super, super introverted, where I'm super sheltered. I learned that about myself. So maybe I'm on that fine line, or maybe I may be all three. Extroverted in this area, introverted in this area, so right in the middle, ambiverted when it comes to this and that. Plethora of things. I may not be just one thing depending on what the situation or what the environment call for. But this is the beauty of learning who you are and how you want to show up and the things that you want to bring into your world, because they're going to be some things that are not just cookie cutter. You may stand on an island by yourself when it comes to some of these things. I remember Mos Def said this thing, and he was talking about his perspective. He heard it from somewhere else. I don't know where he heard it from, or he may have. I think he heard it from somebody else. I think one of his teachers or somebody he came in contact with. But Mos Def said this. He said that in order to be a forward thinker, person, etc., right? You want to go to the edge of the earth and make that the center. Let me say that one more time. In order to be somebody that's uh somebody that's assured on who they are, somebody that's in their conviction, somebody that is a forward thinker. The type of methods that he found out when it came to this artist or whoever he was talking about, himself included, he said that you have to go to the edge of the earth and then make that the center. And what that meant to me, right? It meant that sometimes you have to be an anomaly. Sometimes it may require you being an outcast. Sometimes when everybody's going left, you go right, and vice versa. When everybody's going right, you go left. Not just for the sake of trying to be different, but gain those levels of perspectives that maybe the world haven't seen from this perspective, because maybe the world is just following this one particular method, this one particular thing, this one particular person, this one particular environment. They just doing things the way that they always had done them. But when you choose in your life to say, you know what, I'm going against the status quo, I'm going against what everybody else feel and believe, because in my heart, this is what I believe. When you go into the edge of the earth, you make that the center. What that means to me is that you center in self. You center in self. It's hard to find self in the midst of or being caught up in the worldly things, being the center of everybody else's life. It's really, really hard to find self. So sometimes in that solitude, that isolation, being away from a lot of things, that meditative state, being able to think for oneself, sometimes those spaces that you occupy when you by yourself, it allows you to find self. That's what I learned from hearing that quote from Mos Def. Right now, I think it's appropriate that we take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back. Peace, beloveds. Thank you for tuning in to the Respectfully Great podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Reed, and I appreciate your continuous support. Do you know that over 80% of the people that watch our channel aren't subscribed? By subscribing to our channel, you give us the opportunity to bring on more guests to add more value to our channel. To join our growing community, head over to respectfullygreat.com, sign up for our email list to get exclusive updates on empowering blogs, as well as the latest and greatest in Respectfully Great fashion. Once again, it's nothing but big love, and we value your commitment. Yeah, that was a word from my sponsors at Respectfully Great. That happened to be me, right? I am the God. That's me right there. You heard? Yeah, at your discretion, whenever you decide. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Go to YouTube, all these other platforms, thumb up the videos. Make sure you turn on those notifications, making sure that you are connected with us because we're going to be releasing continuous content and we don't want you to miss out on it. We don't want you to miss anything that we're dropping out there. So um, please tap in with our community because we need your support. We need to boost out these algorithms. We want everybody to be informed so we all can help one another to make sure that we are doing our just due within our community because we need to show up with the best version of ourselves. So be able to do that, if we're able to stay in communication, it allows us to do some of these things. So I appreciate you for understanding that. I appreciate your willingness to show up, not just for self, but for us as a collective. I really, really appreciate that. And I want to tell you that in real time. We have a comment on TikTok. It says, "Keep up the good work, cousin. I'm proud of you." Yes, yes. Nyla, what's up, cuzzo? Yes. I love you unconditionally, and I appreciate you. No, that's not Leah. Nalia, what's up, cousin? I said, Nala. I said, I love you. Oh my gosh, Nalia, I love you unconditionally. um you know there's nothing else to be said. I love you. I love you. And don't ever forget that, because in real time we don't get a chance and opportunity to tell each other that at all times. You down south, we up here in New York. The telephone, we only say we a phone call away. Sometimes we don't take those times out to call, but since you are here today in real time, it makes me realize how important it is to make those telephone calls, to make sure that we show up in every opportunity. We know that Uncle Enoch just passed, and we know that there are missed opportunities that if we had that one chance, that one time to say that we love one another, we should do so. So in real time, I love you for allowing um allowing me to be your cousin and show up the best way that I can, and supporting just showing up in real time. You just made me think about so many other things because I go from the tangent, but I like to really, really speak from the heart. And this is primarily what we were talking about today. um you fussy. I mean, it, you know how this thing go. Super appreciative to have my loved ones in my family because I have strong-minded people in my family, and they all do great things, and the power and the strength of you girls is so commendable. And I want to tell you that in real time because there be conversations that we talk about even amongst mama love and family, and I said the strength of our loved ones and our people, it should be highlighted. And I say it all the time, the women in my family are the strongest. I have some men in my family, and we're strong, right? But ain't nothing like that womanhood when it comes to my cousins, nieces, my aunts, mama love, grandparents. All of these things allow me to show up in the fashion that I'm able to show up because you guys give me the strength. You allow me to do so because you guys were open and honest with me. Like Gary Vee said, get around people that love you enough to tell you the truth. And I want to be a reminder in your life that I love you and I will always tell you the truth, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And the way you show up, the way you stick by your sisters and your brothers and doing all those things, it's very, very commendable. So continue to be great. I love you unconditionally, and tell everybody I said hello and I love them. And we're gonna do what we do as loved ones. You feel me? But I'm happy and proud. This happened divinely. So when I take these moments and these times out, because that didn't happen by happenstance. I'm very, very intuitive to what's going on in my world, because this is the world I live in, right? And I also know that we share these things together. So since we all here, how about we connect on those levels? So that's what I'm doing in real time. So, oh, she needed that. Oh man, we needed that. We needed that. We did this together. We did this together. You hear me? You know that. Man, see this is what I talk about. This is why I'm convinced about how we show up. Those are the things in my life that that's the conviction. That's the conviction. That's the conviction. And this is what I mean about being in purpose. If you show up for you, if you show up for you, you don't know how many other people you are showing up for. My cousin showed up for me today. She showed up for me. And she don't understand the power that she gave me. She gave validity to what we're talking about today in real time. This is living testimony. This is what I be talking about. So I know this is the truth. So although people may agree or disagree, but this is my conviction. So when I go out there and I try to strive for the best in my life and trying to do a lot of acts of servitude and showing up the best way that I can be, even though I have thoughts and things in my mind that may lead me astray. And what's up, loved one? What up, family? Absolutely. And hope you had a prosperous, beautiful 2020, bringing in the new year, 2026, starting that off, loved one. Hope you got them bars right too, man. You know we go keep rhyming, we keep spitting. Spit is our heart. You heard? It's my brother Ant right there, my brother Ant Mateo. Yeah, man. That's the beauty of us just doing what we do. We don't know how much we impact one another. And these are the things that we gotta always just keep reminding ourselves of. Know your value. Know your value. Everything that you go through, you can find value in that. But the only way you start find the value in those things is when you start convincing yourself that everything that you do, I mean, how you show up is purposeful. And you can learn things along your journey to allow you to grow to the best man, the best woman, the best people. And you can do these things at a level that just be beyond you. You may not even know like your strength, but you got the capabilities of doing that, you know? Got the capabilities of doing that. I'm listening, my brother Ant. Yo, Ant, for 2026, we ain't gonna trip. We're gonna magnify this thing to beyond the world to where it exists. You know, I love the rhyme. I'm always on time. I feel my spirit is gonna shine. Every time we do, see, my boy got me going in. Come on, man. Your boy got balls for days. And you know we ain't gonna stop, Phil. You know we ain't gonna stop off the top. You heard? You know it's ill too, right? I was talking about it coming into this new year, right? I was talking about in the middle of cop in the crib. Oh man, that's powerful. Let's talk about that. My man talking about being a homeowner. Ant talking about he's about to go cop a crib. Yes, sir. We never stop. You know, I want to commend you on that. I want to commend you on that. It takes a lot of discipline to acquire some ownership in that area. It takes a lot of discipline to acquire ownership in that area. And I'm proud of you. Don't ever stop. You did these things under conditions that, you know what, I'm going out there and I'm striving for something that I want in my life. Everybody got different goals. Everybody got different wants. Everybody got different things that they want to bring into their world and make these things a reality. And I see what you're doing. I'm glad that you share that with me because that's inspiring, because that's what I aspire to do as well in due time. Me and my relatives, me and my cousin Black, we talk about these things pretty much every day. And we constantly putting this into our psyche because we're gonna live these things out. So we always want to put this thing into manifestation. We want to act these things out. We want to use the power of the tongue. We always want to speak from that perspective to let us know that in due time, that's going to be our reality. And I know that you spoke this into your reality in the process. In the process. So you had to plant those seeds at one time or another. You doing it. And that's the beauty of your journey, your testimony, because we know that road is not easy to do, but it's a process. And now you can go and come back to your community and share that to your family, your loved ones, and friends, and people able to see, man, see Ant, you see Ant, yeah, he done it, he got it done, and that's the power that you have. You empowering me to make sure I stay on my job. You let me know that it's possible. You let me know that I can go out there and make a difference in that area. I know I can go out there and be a provider. I know I can have room, board, and shelter, food, clothing, and shelter. I could do those things. I could go out there and just be the man that I say I desire to be. Every day is opportunity for me to keep building up my character, to go out there and acquire the thing. So along our journey, we continuously being the person so we can acquire it. I'm approaching 40 years old. No time to waste. Nope. No time to waste. No time to waste. What's beautiful, right? Like I said, I'm becoming a watch enthusiast, right? I'm very, very interested in timepieces, right? So that's where I'm at in my life in general, which is as a serious hobby, right? And one of the guys had acquired a watch that was very, very expensive. So it made me think about I'm approaching 40 years old because he used the words him being 40 years old. So when he was talking about the watch that he acquired, he said that people see this watch around my wrist, and yes, it's expensive, but it took me 40 years to get this watch. So when he said that, it made me think and reflect about the moment that you're talking about you acquiring your home, being a homeowner. Yes, approaching 40. It took you 40 years to get here. It wasn't an overnight thing, but you've been preparing yourself for the moment. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. It took them 40 years to acquire that watch. It may take you 40 years to acquire your home. It may take me 45 years to get to where I need to get to. But the thing is that you had to become the person along the journey to acquire the thing. And this is where we emphasizing that although 2026 is 1 year, but it's going to be 1 year added to the other years so you can become that person and maximize your potential in due time. It may be 2026, or it may be 2028, or it may be 2030, or maybe 2060. We don't know when that time may come. Only obligation that we have to do is keep showing up and being in acts of obedience and being disciplined along our journey. And this is what each and every individual is doing in the circles that we are in. Don't get discouraged along your journey because we know it's easy to. There are going to be people, places, and things that are not favorable of your mindset and the things that you do. Keyword is maximize the potential. Absolutely, loved one. As my brother Ann said, key words is maximize the potential. Because we can't go and do the jobs of someone else if we can't master the things that we already have on our plate. See, we always ask for more, give me more, give me more, give me more. And we have yet to utilize what we already have on our plate. We have yet to take advantage and maximize what we already have on our plate, but we continuously asking for more. How about we work with what we got and exhaust those resources until we can't exhaust them no more? And then next thing you know, there's gonna be another resource that open up the door. Like, oh, I didn't know that was over here. Yeah, you had to utilize what's already there. So that means that we stack our money on, we get around the right people, we discipline, we do the right things, we connect with the right people, we get in the right circles, we acquire the right mindsets, we keep challenging ourselves. It's a plethora of things. It's not one thing. It's many things that's going to aid us to be in the places that we want to be in our lives. But it always starts with you. It always starts and ends with you because you have free will. Be around good people. Listen, where my chimes at? It's my chimes. Where we at? What the air horn? It's a comment from my brother Ant. He said, "Yo, be around good people." He said, "Birds of a feather flock together." You get classified by the people that you're around. One thing I learned too, right? Even if it get difficult being around some people, and you say, man, I can't get out these circumstances. I can't get away from this people, this place, this thing. It's just so difficult. One thing, another thing that I taken from Alex Hormozy, he said, you know what? Sometimes it's not about who you're around, it's about who you compare yourself to. So what I learned to do is apply both. Apply both. Sometimes it's going to be the class of individuals that I'm around that's there inspiring me to be the best version of myself. Sometimes I'm gonna be around classes of individuals that I really want to run away from. But I remind myself when I want to run away from those other places, environments, and people, I say to myself, it's not about who I'm around. It's about who I compare myself to. Who I compare myself to. I compare myself to the greatest. I compare myself to the best. I compare myself to somebody that's really out there maximizing my potential, and I'm able to outwork those situations. I'm able to outwork those situations. And then when I get in a room with those same individuals that are like-minded, then I'm like, yeah, this is where I need to be at. This is the people I want to connect with. This is the conversations that I want to have. This is the mindset I want to acquire. My brother Ann said, get out that bad circle. Absolutely, get out those bad circles. Get out those bad rooms. My sister always say, get in the room. Got to get in the right room. Get in the right room, and those circles that's over there, that circle ain't for me. So now I gotta remove myself from that. And that's the beauty of it. You can do that at your own discretion. At your own discretion. You don't want to got the final say. But that comes with being able to make a decision, being able to have agency, being able to think and make a decision on your own without the influence of other people. That's what it's going to require. But the only way we be able to do that is that we start getting more comfortable with who we are. We gotta start looking ourselves in the mirror and say, you know what? Can I be open? Can I be honest? Can I be truthful? Sometimes it hurts. Ooh, you going somewhere, Ant? My brother Ant says sometimes it hurts. More often than not, it hurts. Because now you got to go against some of the things that you were taught maybe your whole life. Sometimes you may go against somebody that you love dearly, but right now they feeding you the poison. Sometimes you got to walk away from some people, places, and things that you love, but you know they toxic, they poison. And that's some of the hardest things that you have to go through. Those are the things that hurt. Man, I gotta love you from a distance. More often than not, absolutely, loved one. More often than not, meaning that we have to go through these things more so than not. It says we the voice of the people. Absolutely. Each and every voice count. That's why I listen to all people. And I figure out what's relative to me. I listen to the person that's on the corner. Or I said, well, how could you possibly listen to somebody that's outside? There was one gentleman, I used to work down there by Wall Street. I used to work on Stone Street, but I was down there by Wall Street, by the Bull, etc. And there was this homeless man down there, right? And he was homeless, right? And I love you, bro. I love you more, Aunt. You know that, family. We talk about this all the time. You too, and that's the beauty. We able to tell each other as men, I love you. And that's the thing. We not too tough to tell each other that we love one another because it's true. We don't have our bravado in the way. We don't know where all of these things. We too tough. We ain't trying to be too tough. We trying to be fully open, honest, and being real men, and letting it be known that we can talk and communicate from a true perspective, right? So I love you too, my brother. There was a gentleman down there that I worked by Wall Street, and he was a homeless man. And every time we used to try to give him food and stuff, he really wouldn't take it. He's like, why this man don't take the food? And every time you try to talk to him, he's like, but he never really would talk. And then one day, I worked down there for 5 years. One day, he spoke. My brother Ann said, everybody want to be macho man. Don't be tough. Be real with yourself. Ooh, do not be tough. Don't be macho man. Do not be tough. Be real with yourself, man. Where my chimes at? Hello. Hello. One more time for that. Here go the chimes. Big Fendi. That is a fact. Be real with yourself. Man, these words of this homeless man never spoke. End up speaking this one time, I guess maybe because, I seen him passing all the time, trying to give him food, et cetera, et cetera. Wouldn't take nothing. And then got in conversation about taking food. And he said the reason why he ain't take food from other people because people did some bad things to him in the food. People would put things in the food that didn't make the food edible. So he couldn't eat the food because people would just do some harmful things. So he never took food from nobody. Long story short, this man, he used to have a job, used to have a home, used to have all these things. And he ended up losing a loved one. And when he had lost that loved one, he felt at that point that he had nothing else to live for. So he decided to become homeless. And when he's telling me the story, I'm like, wow. So I'm thinking that, he's just been unfortunate his whole life. And just, life just do things at him. He said, now he just let everything go. He just felt like he had nothing else to live for. So he just chose to live on the streets. Crazy, man. You never know the stories behind these people. And like I said, this man never used to talk. I remember talking the time I was talking about money, and money was talking about one of these other guys that people used to talk around. And come to find out, this dude was another gentleman that used to work on Wall Street. And he dude had a lot of money back in the day. And he said, "Man, why you talk to me?" Man said, "Because you're a person, you're a human being. I got love for people. I got love for my people. So I have no problem talking to you. You talking, me having a conversation for you. I don't treat you no less. So He said, man, so mom saying that he was conversing with the dude, and they was just talking and stuff, and not knowing that this dude at one point in time in his life, before life took the turns that it took, this dude had a lot of money, was wealthy, and the people treated him different. Now that he didn't have all of the materialistic things, people started to, treat him as if he wasn't worth it, as if he had no value. And that's one of the things that remind us, and I want to constantly put out there, is that life will do that to you at times. Life will make you feel like life may be, not worth experiencing. It may feel like, what, this thing ain't worth it, or I have no value, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. All of these misnomers that throw people for the loops, that play on a subconscious to make people feel like they have no value. So what I always want to constantly remind us is that you always have value. I tell my stepson all the time, I'm like, he had the privilege of going to both schools. He was in public school and Catholic school. So he has value from both perspectives. When he go to public school, he can talk about experiences of being in Catholic school. It's value there because a lot of people that's in the public school haven't experienced going to Catholic school. And then when he go into Catholic school environment, a lot of those kids haven't experience of being in public school. So he go in there and he had value to expound on when he get into the Catholic school setting. So him being a child, he got value that some people in the world never experienced in their life out of being on this earth 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. He still got an experience that they never experienced. That's value. That's value. You just got to be inquisitive to know, where your value at. How do you show up? What are your experiences? What are the things that you experience that you can expound on? You can tell, just listen, this is my testimony. Your testimony alone can be of value if we treat it as such. But a lot of times people tell us that we don't have any value. I don't judge anybody. Sometimes we dealt with bad hands. Absolutely. Absolutely. My brother Moses is in the building. What's up, Moses? Sometimes we dealt with bad hands. My brother Ann said, I don't judge anybody. We all have value, knowledge, and wisdom. Absolutely. Knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom. We all have value. So if you're in systems where people, places, and things try to devalue you, like my brother Ant said, get out those circles. Get out of those circles. If people, places, and things are trying to devalue you, get up out those circles. Get up out those circles because they're not serving you. And they're not serving you. So now you want to go into spaces to where now you're not just tolerated, you're celebrated. You're not just tolerated. Go where you celebrate it. Go where, where people can appreciate your kind gestures, where people can appreciate your smile, where people can appreciate your mannerisms, where people can appreciate you just showing up for another person. Go in those places where you celebrate it. You don't have to be around people that you don't want to be around. And even if you feel like you forced, mentally, you can move yourself away mentally. It's all about perspective. Now, like this when you start attaching yourself to what the Alex Hormozy theory is, when you say, you know what? It's about who I compare myself to. If I know I'm better and greater than what's presented here right now, because these people over here just doing nothing but trying to devalue me. Okay, I know how to uprise over that because my mindset's already past them and that particular situation and that thing. So so I'm not letting nothing around me devalue me because I already know myself and my worth. I know myself. I know myself and I know my worth. Self-worth. I talk to God every day, not when I'm down and out. Every single day. Ooh, building that connection with God. And building that connection with God. Absolutely. Building that connection with God. Do you know God? Do you know God? That's that. Listen, that's part of his. That we did another episode not too long ago talking about the codes you come up with, the combination codes. So there's a sequence of things and habits that I do every day. That's kind of my secret for me in order to allow me to have a prosperous day or setting the trajectory for my day to be on a positive note. So there's a sequence of things that I do every day before I leave the house. And one of the things out of the three things that I mandatory have to do every day is connect myself with God. Same thing with my brother Ant talking about. Good times, bad times is different, don't make no difference. Every day I'm building that relationship with God, building that relationship with that God within oneself. I'm building that relationship with God within me. So that's how I connect. So I know that nobody around me can devalue me because what's bigger than God? If I got God within me, I'm God. God is within me. I'm part of the whole. I'm part of the creation. If I know God is within me, how can I let anybody, place, or thing devalue me? Meanwhile, when God created this whole heavens and earth, created everything. How can I let the mindset of somebody else deter me from connecting the way I want to connect with and who I want to connect with and how I want to show up and how I want to be purpose driven if I already know that God is within oneself? If I know God is within oneself, how can I let anybody come in my world and tamper with that? If I'm a true believer, if I'm somebody that's in conviction and I know God and I built that relationship and I do it every day, like my brother Ant said, no matter whether he's down and out, he do it from an active obedience standpoint. So he built that relationship with God every day. That's part of his combination codes. Same thing that I do. My brother knows something. I think we both know something. We know how God works in our life and show up every day. How ironic is Sunday when people, connect with God the most? How about we connect with God Monday through Sunday? Not just on Sunday, we connect with God Monday through Sunday every day. And you know what? Connect with God more times than that. When I go in the get into prayer, maybe once, twice, two, three times. Every time I feel I need to connect with God, I do that. My brother Ant says sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror, do better, Ant. Absolutely, that's what he tell himself. He look himself in the mirror and say every day he tell himself, do better, Ant. Do better, Ant. We have time to improve. Absolutely, loved one. It's always room for improvement. My mother tells me that. My mom reminds me of that. My mom said, yeah, even though I'm doing good, I still could do better. She says that all the time. And that's a reminder of me when I feel down and out. Because I go through my own thing as well. Some things where there's challenges. And I'm like, how do I get through this? I listen to perspectives on, I hear things, right? And then I gotta kind of, get back to myself. I heard something today, and and when I heard this thing, um, it challenged my belief system because it kind of put me back in that standpoint of who you know who you are. Don't ever let nobody tamper with you. Don't ever let nobody that. So I was getting more of that macho man, Randy Savage vibe. This was happening today. Like my brother Ants was talking about earlier. I was getting that macho man, Randy Savage vibe. Ain't nobody taking nothing away from me, brother. I was getting on that time. Macho man, Randy Savage. I was getting on that time, right? So I'm telling. Oh man, hold on, man. With the air horns. Oh man, it's crazy. But yeah, like I was getting challenged, and I started to vibe off that same energy. And I'm like, nah, Reed, that's not who you are. That perspective of that man, that woman, that in them, that's their truth that they living in. And I was in that space at one point in time in my life, and I made the decision not to be in there in that same space, and I almost got wounded right back up in that same energy, and had to remove myself from that bad circle, loved one. I had to remove myself from that bad circle, and I had to remind myself of who I was and where I stand at. And I said, yes, although I felt some pain, some hurt, but I made it through that. It don't make sense for me to go back in that pain and hurt just to attach myself to that one emotion. Shine Star, what's up, loved one? It don't make sense for me to go tap back into that negative energy. And I had to remind myself before I got on the live, like, you know what? Don't feed into the negativity. This happened right before the live. Don't feed back into the negativity. Some joint came across on social media scrolling, and they talking from a perspective that I experienced, and they said, I would never let nobody do this to me. That third pop. And I'm like, yeah. I connect with that, but I've been down that road before, and I made a decision in my life to move forward. But for a second, I was caught up in that energy, and I said, nah, that's the bad vibes. That right there is trying to pull me back in. And it reminded me of Ant, like my brother Ant said, look yourself in the mirror, remind yourself, yo, listen, Ant, gotta do better. Same thing I said to myself, Johnny, you gotta do better. We past that. So that's how life works. Life is always going to be throwing things at us, but it's all about how we handle it from perspective. Because if we built up the mindset, no matter what people throw at us, and we know we walking from We know we walking with God. We know we true in our testament. We know that we true in our testimony. We know we honorable. We open. We honest. We truthful. We made a pact. We made an oath to ourselves to show up the best version of ourselves. We felt we did these things, and we put this in our daily routines. That's our combination codes to allow us, to get through those doors every day to go out there to fight these other battles. We know we're gonna be toiled with. We know there's gonna be a lot of energies around us that want, latch on to the energy. There's some people that want to zap you from it. Some people say, that momentum, that energy, that drive, that person, your house. I don't want you to have a house. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna try to stop the process. They're gonna tell you, you need more money. They may say this, they may say that, they say the banker said this or this person. They may do a combination of things. But you know that it took you 40 years to get to this point, and you ain't gonna stop now. So whether it happens the 40th, the 41st, the 43rd, it made no difference. You're still in purpose, and that's going to get done because that's part of who you are and what you want to experience in your world. And that's what we all can do every day, no matter what it is. We have the opportunity to bring things in our world and how we want to experience it. Long as we in conviction, long as we know who we are, where we are, what we stand for, we can do those things. So that's why we showed up today as our first live for 2026, our first podcast. This is episode, if I'm not mistaken, 44. I think it's episode 44 going in for the 2026. We also have another episode coming up this Thursday with my brother Ronnie Ruggiero. I'm super pumped, super ecstatic. We're going to be talking about leadership. If there are any questions, any things that you would love for us to expound about when it comes to that next episode, feel free to DM, feel free to show up in real time, ask the questions, and we'll be able to get down in real time to expound on your thoughts and your perspectives, and we could come together and have open dialogue around these things. And I think that's the beauty of us having this open forum so we can do these things, right? My brother Ann says, I take notes from different people. You can gather your knowledge, best version of ourselves. I can be 87 years old. I'm still going to strive. My guy, Ronnie. Absolutely. And Ron be up here next week. Thursday, actually, few days, 4 days, only 4 days away for our first interview of the 2026 year. We going to do our thing. We're going to do our thing. And more importantly, I want you to do your thing. Whatever calls you to, whatever your calling is, be in purpose. Be in purpose. Don't let nobody tell you different. Be around those circles that encourage you, that celebrate you. Have those conversations, acquire that mindset, do those difficult tasks like Laura Boy said, so we can build ourselves up to strengthen our mindset. I'm super appreciative, super thankful. We had a wonderful episode today. I know it's out of our normal time, but I felt compelled to do it. I told myself, you know what, just vibe out the week, and I couldn't stay away. I couldn't stay away because I felt like it had not we showed up together, the conversations that we had today when got into the ethos, and that's the power of us showing up. Look how much we was able to put into the world, positivity that we dump right back into the world. My cousin Nalia, my brother and aunt, Lazy in the building, everybody else that showed up in real time, everybody that came through the chats, we made it happen. And that's when I want to just constantly push out there all the time. We make it happen. And collectively, we strengthen numbers. So the more and more that we show up for ourselves, we're able to show up for other people in all shape, form, and fashions. We're doing so many acts of servitude. Be able to as long as you become the best version of yourself, man, you're gonna do some powerful things. And you're gonna train. You're gonna really affect people's lives for the better in a positive way, because you don't know. A lot of times we don't really know what our gifts bring. This conversation today really inspired me, just being able to converse with everybody that's here. And I'm appreciative, and I love you guys unconditionally, and I'm thankful. So I know my 2026 is starting off on the right foot. Our 2026 is really starting off on the right foot. My brother Ann says, so inspirational, bro. Keep doing your thing. I listen to every word. I appreciate you and I love you, bro. You know that. Family. Today's been a wonderful episode. Shout out again to Hunter Wave King, my brother with the big BMO beanie, right here. Go tap in with him, Hunter Wave King. Go DM him. Shoot him a text. Say, listen, put them things on pre-order. He may have some on deck. But this is fire. You see right here, this thing is legendary. Also, we're sponsored by Respectfully Great. Go tap in Respectfully Great on all platforms. Respectfully Great on YouTube. Thumb up this video, thumb up the other videos so we can boost up the algorithm. Turn on your notifications, like, share, subscribe, tell people about us. And the more the merrier. The more we able to have perspectives in the building, more and more we be able to get that data. Like Warren Buffett said, get all of the data, and now whatever's relative to us, we can attach it to who we are and who we become. And then whatever that doesn't apply, we can throw that out the window and say, you know what, that doesn't apply to me. It may not apply right now, it may apply later on in your life, or it may never apply. But the beauty is that we able to have different minds in the building, and we able to strengthen ourselves and make sure that we more in conviction of who we are by being able to test our theories and our mindsets around these things. So I'm super, super appreciative. We will be here next week again, 7 p.m. on Thursday. We have our first guest, Ronnie Ruggiero. I'm super appreciative for everybody showing up in real time. And my brother, come on, we're gonna have a great conversation and dialogue around leadership. So feel free to send text, DMs, etc., to any one of our platforms if you want to have questions, if things that may run across your mind. And that's just only about the future episodes and episodes that pass, but anything that you feel that you want to just get off your chest, feel free to do so. Shoot the DM, shoot the text, write it on the regular platforms. It's all good. No matter how you feel, we welcome into your opinion. You can feel the way you feel. Be not judgmental, but it's something that you can reflect and look back on. Whether no matter what position you're coming from, it's something that you're gonna have to live with and put into the ethos that everybody else can attract themselves to. So the beauty of it is that when you put out that good energy will come right back. That good energy will come right back. So continue to go out there and do your thing. I love you. Love yourself even more. And we will be here next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. with our first guest of 2026. It will be my brother, Ronnie Ruggiero. Until then, loved ones, let's rock out. Let's do our thing. And be prosperous. Be truthful. Be open. Be honest. More importantly, just be you. Be you. I love you, man. I will see you next week. And I will tap in soon. Respectfully.